Please give a huge round of applause to the Honorable Minister. So it's a pleasure to welcome all of you today at this important occasion when the Department of Chemical and Petrochemical is signing an MOU with ILO and also a seminar on safe use of chemical, which is an important, which is a very important initiative. Without wasting any time, now I may request our Joint Secretary, Mr. Sushant Kumar Purohit, Department of Chemicals and Petrochemical, Government of India, to give the welcome address. Sir.
Respected Dr. Mansukh Mandavia sir, Honorable Union Minister Chemicals and Fertilizers and Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. Respected Sri Bhagwant Koha sir, Honorable Minister of State, Chemicals and Fertilizer and New and Renewable Energy, Government of India. Respected Ma'am Aarti Ahuja, Secretary, Department of Chemicals and Petrochemicals. Officials from government, esteemed members from industries and media, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I extend a very warm welcome to one and all on behalf of our department, the Department of Chemicals and Petrochemicals, to today's seminar on safe use of chemicals organized by our department along with International Labour Organization. Also, it is a matter of great privilege to all of us that today, despite their very busy schedules, we have with us our Honorable Minister, sir, Honorable Minister of State, sir. Today, we are also going to sign an MOU between our department, Department of Chemicals and Petrochemicals, with International Labour Organization. This will help in adopting the international safety cards and will help in ensuring the safe use of chemicals at the workplace, and this will also ensure safety of our workers and people in and around our chemical industry. As you all know that our chemical industry is very vital for India's economy and plays a very significant role in contributing to our country's GDP. Therefore, ensuring safety at workplace in our chemical industry is far more significant and important. I thank our Honorable Minister, sir, Honorable Minister of State, sir, for kindly gracing this occasion today and for their continued guidance and encouragement. I also thank all the esteemed participants for their participation. I once again welcome one and all to this august gathering and looking forward for fruitful session. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Just to brief the Honorable Minister, that after the inauguration, we also have a technical session where we have the industry expert will talk about the chemical safety. This now I request I invite Secretary Chemical Petrochemical, Aarti Madam, to set the tone for this today's event. Ma'am.
Thank you. Dr. Mansukh Mandavia, Honorable Union Minister of Health and Family Welfare and Chemical and Fertilizers, Government of India. Shri Bhagwant Koha, Honorable Minister of State for Chemicals and Fertilizers, New and Renewable Energy, Government of India. Mr. Dagmar Walter, Director of ILO, Mr. Prabdas, and all the other friends and colleagues present here today. Just to set the context for today's meeting, the culture of safety. हमारी जिस प्रकार की इंडस्ट्री है केमिकल एंड पेट्रोकेमिकल इंडस्ट्री, उसमें द कल्चर ऑफ सेफ्टी इज़ वेरी इम्पॉर्टेंट. इस दौरान जब से मैंने ज्वाइन किया है काफ़ी जगह गई भी हूँ और काफ़ी सारे यूनिट्स भी मैंने देखे हैं और हमारे मंत्री जी के भी का भी ये हमारे को निर्देश रहा है कि इट इज़ वेरी इम्पॉर्टेंट कि हम देखें हाउ डू वी मैनेज पोटेंशियल हैज़र्ड्स, क्योंकि जिस तरह की इंडस्ट्री हम चला रहे हैं उसमें रिस्क होता है. तो किस तरह और बट रिस्क इज़ नॉट अ रिस्क अगर उसको हम मैनेज कर पाएँ. तो किस तरह से उस रिस्क को हम मैनेज कर पाएँ, दैट इज़ वेरी इम्पॉर्टेंट. इसीलिए कल्चर ऑफ सेफ्टी होना बहुत ज़रूरी है. और जिस तरह से हमारा सेक्टर है तो बहुत बड़ी कंपनीज़ हैं जो कि रिस्पॉन्सिबल केयर फ्रेमवर्क फॉलो करती हैं, उसमें इम्पैनल्ड हैं और उसमें पूरा जो प्रोसेसेस हैं वो फॉलो करते हैं. अदर एंड ऑफ द स्पेक्ट्रम में हमारे बहुत सारे छोटे यूनिट्स भी हैं, अदर यूनिट्स भी हैं जो हो सकता है उस प्रकार के प्रोसेसेस ना फॉलो करते हों. इसलिए इट इज़ वेरी इम्पॉर्टेंट कि हम एक स्टैंडर्डाइज्ड फॉर्मेट जो कि इंटरनेशनली एक्सेप्टेड हो उसका व्यवहार करें. इसीलिए आज ILO के साथ हमारा ये MOU हो रहा है. एंड आई वुड लाइक टू थैंक my colleagues in the department, Varun Punia and Mr. Soni and JS, who have worked on this, and today we are in a position to sign the MOU. इसके अतिरिक्त केमिकल काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया के साथ सर हम काम कर रहे हैं, जो इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ केमिकल टेक्नोलॉजी है जो पहले UDST होता था. किस प्रकार से हम ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम डेवलप कर पाएँ जिसमें कि जो MSME के यूनिट्स हैं वो बड़ी कंपनीज़ के यहाँ ऑन साइट जाके ट्रेनिंग ले पाएँ. केमिकल हैंडलिंग, केमिकल सेफ्टी, अगर कोई स्पिल होता है तो उससे कैसे डील करना है, वो कोर्स भी बन रहा है सर. और अगले महीने तक होपफुली वो तैयार भी हो जाएगा. उसके बाद उसका हम सर आपके कर कमलों से उद्घाटन करवाएंगे. तो अब सर जो ये ILO के साथ हम MOU कर रहे हैं, व्हाट इज़ आवर एक्सपेक्टेशन फ्रॉम द इंडस्ट्री? द फर्स्ट इज़ दैट these chemical safety cards are developed jointly by ILO and WHO, and they are universally globally recognized. So our first expectation from the industry is that you will disseminate this to the shop floor workers. So or the people at the managerial positions, everybody down the line must be aware of these cards. When we have the seminar after the inaugural function, there will be a detailed presentation on how to use these cards. But our request would be कि जो भी केमिकल आपके यहाँ प्रोड्यूस हो रहा हो, हैंडल हो रहा हो, रॉ मटेरियल हो, उसका रिलेटेड कार्ड प्रोमिनेंटली डिस्प्ले कीजिए अपने प्रेमिसेस में, अपने वर्कर्स को उसमें ट्रेन कीजिए ताकि उस केमिकल को रिलेटेड उनको क्या क्या प्रिकॉशंस लेने हैं, यदि एक्सीडेंटल स्पिलेज होता है तो क्या करना है, उसके बारे में सबको जानकारी हो. सो दैट वी मिनिमाइज द हैजर्ड created due to any untoward incident. So that is the first thing. The second thing is कि इसके बाद हम ILO के साथ मिलकर ट्रेनिंग ऑफ ट्रेनर्स भी करेंगे, सो दैट कंट्री में हमारा एक कॉर्पस हो जाए, लोग जो कि जानते हों इनका यूजेज कैसे होना चाहिए और किस प्रकार से इसको फर्दर हमारे जितने भी एम्प्लॉयज़ हैं, जितने भी वर्कर्स हैं, उनमें किस प्रकार से इसके बारे में ज्ञान हो. तो इसी बिकॉज काफ़ी चीज़ें अननोइंगली हम करते रहते हैं, तो कैसे वो ना हो, कैसे हम प्रोसेसेस फॉलो करें ताकि हम वी मिनिमाइज दी हैजर्ड. तो इसी उद्देश्य से ये ILO के साथ आज MOU हो रहा है, एंड वी आर ग्रेटफुल टू ILO for agreeing to partner with us, and also agreeing to take up the further trainings, TOTs, etc. And once again, I request all the industry leaders to take this in the right spirit and disseminate it to all the units. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you highlighting the initiative taken by the department, and we hopeful that the industry will follow the guidelines. Now I request the representative of ILO, Mr. Kelvin Sargent, Specialist Small Enterprises Development and Job Creation, ILO WTO, to kindly please give the ILO's perspective.
Honorable Minister, Mr. Mansak Mandivia, other honorable ministers at the dais, esteemed Secretary Ati Ahuja, employers and workers representatives, colleagues from the ILO, ladies and gentlemen, namaskar and good morning to you. I bring you greetings on behalf of the ILO, and I apologize for Ms. Dagmar Walter, who's not here with us as yet. She has another commitment with the European Union, but she will be joining us shortly. So in the meantime, I will deliver her address, which has been prepared. And to begin by saying it is an utmost honor for the ILO to be here with you today to launch a chemical safety and cards on the initiative of the Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers. We do not hesitate to enter into this collaboration. To start with, we need to recognize that the ILO constituents and governments, employers, and workers of 187 member states just last month at the International Labour Conference, recognized the importance of occupational safety and health, and it became part of the fundamental principles and rights at work. So it has joined other fundamental principles: freedom of association and the right to organize and collective bargaining, child labor, and so on. All of these are fundamental principles. And now to the occupational safety and health is another fundamental principle of which this initiative will fit right into. And therefore, this initiative today is a step in the right direction. Chemicals, as we know, are widely used throughout this society, with both negative and positive effects on health, well-being, socioeconomic aspects, and the environment. Nearly 1 billion workers around the world are disproportionately exposed, particularly in developing countries, economies in transition, and in the informal economy, to hazardous substances, including pollutants, dusts, vapors, and fumes. Workers are exposed to hazardous chemicals throughout the supply chain, from production to handling to storage to transport to disposal and treatment of waste chemicals. Globally, an estimated 1 million workers lose their lives each year due to the exposure of hazardous chemicals, succumbing to fatal diseases, cancers, and poisonings, or from fatal injuries following fires or explosions. For those who do not lose their lives, they may face non-fatal injuries and diseases resulting in disability, debilitating chronic diseases, and other health impacts. All these deaths, injuries, and illnesses are usually entirely preventable. All can be prevented if we do the right thing. Major industrial accidents, such as the 2020 Beirut port explosion of ammonia nitrate, show the urgency of this global health problem. And I think we all remember that horrific incident that happened in Beirut in 2020. While the health effects of some occupational chemical exposures are well established, it is likely that the long-term health impacts of certain chemicals will only become evident years from now. What is clear, however, is that the utilization of hazardous chemicals in consumer products and industrial processes will only increase, leading to an even higher burden of disease and adverse consequences for the environment. What is also clear is that we can no longer afford to be complacent in our global mismanagement of chemicals, and a new approach is urgently needed to protect the millions of workers exposed to their everyday work. Effective and evidence-based systems for the sound management of chemicals must be implemented to both the national and workplace level as a matter of urgency in order to protect workers, their families, make businesses more sustainable, as well as the wider communities. And I think earlier when I heard someone referring to the importance of passing on all this information, even down to the shop floor, very importantly. The ILO was founded, as we all know, on the concept of guaranteeing adequate protection for the life and health of workers in all occupations, including workers exposed to hazardous chemicals and substances, and we continue to be a major actor in the International Forum on Chemical Safety and Waste Management. We have a large number of conventions to create a strong preventative and protective foundation in the area of chemicals and the world of work. We have chemicals, what we call general chemical instruments. We have chemical risk-specific instruments dealing with asbestos, dealing with radiation protection, occupational cancer convention, and then we have sector-specific instruments related to chemicals, such as the Safety and Health in Mines Convention of 1995, number 176, Safety and Health in Agriculture Convention 2001, number 184, and Safety and Health in Construction Convention number 1988, number 167. So there's a host of conventions which are there from the ILO to deal with these issues. Ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Minister, members of the desk, the ILO, we are happy and pleased to enter into this collaboration with the Chemical Ministry and Fertilizers by signing an MOU today. And we wish to thank you very much for this initiative. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sargent, for highlighting the various initiatives taken by the ILO and also talked about the various incidents, the global incident of Beirut. Thank you very much. And now I request the guest of honor, Shri Bhagwant Khuba ji, Honorable Minister of State for Chemical and Fertilizer, New and Renewable Energy, Government of India, to address the August gathering. Sir, please.
Seminar on safe use of chemicals organized by Department of Chemicals and Petrochemicals, Government of India, along with International Labour Organization. मंच पर उपस्थित भारत सरकार के केमिकल एंड फर्टिलाइजर के बड़े मंत्री जी, आदरणीय डॉक्टर मनसुख भाई मांडविया जी, डीसीपीसी के सेक्रेटरी श्रीमती आरती आहूजा जी, फिक्की के चेयरमैन प्रभादास जी, मिस्टर केल्विन सर्जेंट जी और इस सभागृह में उपस्थित सभी मान्यवर, सबको मेरा नमस्कार। आज डीसीपीसी और आईएलओ के बीच में बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण मेमोरेंडम ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग होने जा रहा है, ताकि विश्व के अंदर 7 मिलियन से ज़्यादा केमिकल्स का नमूना हो और उसी के साथ 400 मिलियन मेट्रिक टन का उत्पादन का अवसर हो और उसी में भारत दुनिया के अंदर चौथा स्थान का पा लेना अपने आप में एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण जगह पाने का भी सौभाग्य हम सबको प्रयास से, केमिकल जगत के उद्योगपतियों से और विशेष करके कार्मिक जो वर्कर्स रहते उनके प्रयासों से हुआ है। तो आज ये महत्वपूर्ण मेमोरेंडम ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग श्रमजीवियों का महत्व को समझते हुए केमिकल का दुष्परिणाम किस ढंग से हम लोग उसको निभाएं, इस विषय को लेकर के श्रमजीवियों का एक स्थान और उनका धैर्य न टूटे, इस विषयों को लेकर के इंटरनेशनल लेबर सेफ केमिकल कार्ड्स देने के वजह से आज हो रहा है। आज का इस कदम को हम सभी ने बहुत ही सराहना करने का अवसर है, क्योंकि केमिकल को सभी इनोवेशंस करते समय उसका साधक और बाधक दोनों भी साथ साथ में होते हैं। जब उसका दुष्परिणाम भी साथ में रहता है तो इसको किस ढंग से उसको संभाल के हम लोग उसको उपयोग करें और दुष्परिणाम श्रमजीवियों के ऊपर ही नहीं बल्कि पर्यावरण को भी हमको बचाना है। हम काफ़ी बार हम देखते हैं कई केमिकल फैक्ट्रीज के अंदर दुर्घटना घटती है। ये एक तो वहाँ का श्रमजीवियों को उसका अता पता तक मालूम नहीं रहता है कि इसका उपयोगिता कैसा करे। अभी हाल ही में मेरे ही कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी के अंदर ये केमिकल फैक्ट्री के अंदर जितना मात्रा में केमिकल छोड़ना चाहिए था वहाँ के वर्कर दुगनी छोड़ दिया, तो ब्लास्ट होकर के जाने गंवाना पड़ा। ये एक तो निर्लक्ष्य, साथ उसको उपयोगिता का उनका परवाह नहीं था। तो ऐसे अनेक घटना इतना बड़ा देश के अंदर हो सकती है। जब जब घटना घटती है तो उसका अर्थव्यवस्था पर भी उसका परिणाम पड़ती है, उस फैक्ट्री का हो या उस सेक्टर का हो। तो इसमें हमें बहुत सतर्क से रहना बहुत आवश्यक है। कौन से केमिकल्स की परिणाम कैसी उसका रिएक्शंस वगैरह हो सकती है, इसका जानकारी हमारा श्रमिकों को अवगत कराना बहुत आवश्यक होती है। तो आज हमारा केमिकल एंड फर्टिलाइज़र का डीसीपीसी का डिपार्टमेंट और इंटरनेशनल लेबर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन दोनों एक मंच पर आकर के उसको साझा करके अनेक विषयों के ऊपर टेक्निकली सेशन भी करनी है। तो उस टेक्निकल सेशन से लेकर के जो परिणाम आएंगे वो परिणाम देश के हर केमिकल फैक्ट्री के अंदर उसका ट्रेनिंग हो, केमिकल का उसका उपयोगिता का परिचय करना हो, फ्लोर एरिया में उसका कैसा स्वच्छता के साथ कैसा मैनेजमेंट करना हो, यदि अगर कहीं से अगर लीक होती है तो उसको तुरंत कैसा सुधार सके, ऐसे अनेक विषयों को लेकर के इंडस्ट्रीज को भी हमको वहाँ पर फलक का रूप में कर्मियों को समझाना भी है और विशेष करके श्रमजीवियों को ट्रेनिंग, अवेयरनेस कैंप और जब जब हजार्डस इंसिडेंट होता है तो उसमें उसको कैसे धैर्य से और सेफ ढंग से कैसे इसको निभाएं, ये बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है। तो आज का इस महत्वपूर्ण मेमोरेंडम ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग मैं विश्वास रखता हूँ कि इसको आगे लेके जा कर के भारत के श्रमजीवियों को और केमिकल सेक्टर को दोनों को भी ग्रो टुगेदर विथआउट एनी हार्म एंड हजार्ड्स, विथआउट लूजिंग एनी लाइव्स, ऐसे मैं आशा करता हूँ और शुभकामनाएं देता हूँ। बहुत बहुत मेरा शुभकामना। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for giving your vision, which we believe that will help in creating the safe ecosystem in our country. With this, it is my pleasure to invite today's chief guest, Dr. Mansukh Mandavia, Honorable Minister of Health and Family Welfare and Chemical Fertilizer, Government of India. Request all you to kindly give a huge round of applause to the Honorable Minister.
आज सेफ यूज ऑफ केमिकल्स पर आयोजित सेमिनार में हमारे बीच उपस्थित मेरे साथी मंत्री भगवंत खुबा जी, सेक्रेटरी केमिकल्स पेट्रोकेमिकल्स आरती आहूजा जी, प्रभदास जी, ILO के डायरेक्टर, उपस्थित सभी भाइयों एवं बहनों, वैसे तो आज का कार्यक्रम महत्वपूर्ण इसलिए है कि सेफ्टी, ह्यूमन सेफ्टी और मानवता ये हमारे लिए हमेशा प्राथमिकता का एक विषय रहा है। केमिकल्स कोई नया विषय नहीं है। केमिकल्स और केमिकल्स का नॉलेज होना इस देश में बहुत पुराना विषय है। मैं एक बार अजंता इलोरा की केव्स देखने के लिए गया था। वहाँ केव्स में पेंटिंग है, डाइज इट्स वन टाइप ऑफ केमिकल्स। आज आप जाके देखो, उस वक्त सदियों पहले एक केव्स में जो पेंटिंग है, आपको ऐसा ही लगेंगे कि ये शायद अभी 1-2 साल पहले किसी ने बनाया होगा, लेकिन है 1000-1500 पुराना। उस वक्त कुछ ऑर्गेनिक केमिकल्स का यूज करके उसको बनाया होगा। तो केमिकल्स का ज्ञान होना ये देश में स्वाभाविक था। ऑर्गेनिक केमिकल्स, अनऑर्गेनिक केमिकल्स एंड पेट्रोकेमिकल्स, ये दो सब्जेक्ट नए जुड़े हुए हैं और सेफ्टी के साथ उसका नाता है, ह्यूमन सेफ्टी के साथ खास करके। जब केमिकल्स या तो पेट्रोकेमिकल्स, उसका रिएक्शन होता है, कोई गैस के रूप में पेट्रोकेमिकल्स हो, लिक्विड के रूप में हो, वो एक दूसरे से या तो कोई दूसरे घटक से मिलके उसका रिएक्शन होता है और रिएक्शन की एक साइड इफेक्ट होती है, जहर बन जाता है, हैजार्डस बन जाता है, अलग अलग विषय बन जाते हैं उसमें से। उसका दो विषय, उस ऐसी स्थिति में दो विषय, दो पहलू पर काम करना आवश्यक होता है। एक तो पहले इंडस्ट्री सेफ्टी, जिस टाइप के केमिकल, जिस टाइप के पेट्रोकेमिकल जिस जगह पे आप रिएक्शन कर रहे हैं, बना रहे हैं या तो स्टोरेज कर रहे हैं, वो कैसे सेफ हो, और उसकी सेफ्टी के लिए एक इंटरनेशनल मानक होता है। ये मानक के अनुसार उसको रखा जाता है या तो उसकी प्रोसेस की जाती है, और ये स्थिति में वो बेस्ट से बेस्ट प्रोसेस का हम इंप्लीमेंट करें, बेस्ट से बेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजी या तो सेफ इक्विपमेंट से हम उसका रिएक्शन करें। इस इंडस्ट्रीज सेफ्टी साइड हो गई। इंडस्ट्रीज में काम करने वाले लोग, ऑल टाइप ऑफ एम्प्लॉइज, उसकी सेफ्टी ये उसके पर डिपेंडेंट है और उसके अवेयरनेस पर डिपेंडेंट है। वहाँ जो काम करने वाले लोग हैं उसमें यहाँ जिस टाइप का केमिकल्स का रिएक्शन हो रहा है, जिस टाइप का हैजार्डस होने की संभावना है, डायरेक्टली ये केमिकल्स हैजार्डस नहीं है, लेकिन कभी रिएक्शन हो जाता है तो हैजार्डस हो जाता है। लिक्विड है, वो ऑक्सीजन के साथ कुछ प्रोसेस कर गया तो हैजार्डस हो जाता है। तो क्या क्या संभावना होती है उसको हैजार्डस होने की, और उसके लिए क्या क्या प्रिकॉशन लेने की आवश्यकता होती है, कौन सी सेफ्टी की आवश्यकता होती है, और सेफ्टी के लिए वहां काम करने के लिए कौन सी ट्रेनिंग होनी चाहिए, जिस ट्रेनिंग के आधार पर व्यक्ति कुछ इंसिडेंट हो जाए तो अपने स्वयं को सेफ कर पाए। और इसलिए एक इंटरनेशनल मानक ILO ने जो तय किया है उसके साथ हिंदुस्तान को जोड़ना स्वाभाविक है। हमारा नेचर रहा है, हमारी सिस्टम रही है, हम हमेशा विश्व में बेस्ट प्रैक्टिस कोई भी हो, किसी ने भी उसका इम्प्लीमेंटेशन किया हो, लेकिन मानवता के लिए है, सेफ्टी के लिए है, जीवन को बचाने के लिए है, हम हमेशा उसको एक्सेप्ट करते हैं। किसने बनाया है, कौन सी कंट्री ने बनाया है, वो हम नहीं देखते हैं। कौन सा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ने बनाया है वो बात की बात है, लेकिन मानव जीवन के सुरक्षा के लिए, सेफ्टी के लिए अच्छा है, एनवायरनमेंट के लिए अच्छा है, इंडस्ट्रीज के लिए अच्छा है। तो इंडिया ये टेक्नोलॉजी, ये व्यवस्था, इस सिस्टम को, ये मानक को हमेशा एक्सेप्ट करते हैं। इस तरह आज ILO के साथ MOU करके हम हमारे देश में जो केमिकल्स, पेट्रोकेमिकल्स इंडस्ट्रीज में काम करने वाले लोग हैं उसकी सेफ्टी हम कैसे सुनिश्चित करेंगे। इंटरनेशनल मानक के अनुसार हमें सुनिश्चित करना है, उसके लिए MOU होगा। ये MOU के आधार पर जो प्रैक्टिस बताई गई है वो हमारी इंडस्ट्रीज इस प्रैक्टिस को फॉलो करेगी और गवर्नमेंट उसकी निगरानी रखेगी। इंडस्ट्रीज उसको अच्छी तरह से इम्प्लीमेंट हो उसके लिए कोशिश करेगी, और जो काम करने वाले एम्प्लॉइज हैं उसको बेस्ट से बेस्ट ट्रेनिंग मिले, बेस्ट से बेस्ट इंफॉर्मेशन मिले। बहुत मैंने देखा है और इंडिया ने ऐसा इंसिडेंट कई झेला है। भोपाल गैस कांड से लेके आज तक ऐसा कई छोटे मोटे इंसिडेंट होते रहते हैं, कई लोग अपने जीवन को गुमाते हैं। ये देश में एक छोटे से छोटे लोगों का जीवन का महत्व इतना ही है जो सबका जीवन का महत्व है। और इसलिए क्योंकि सभी को परिवार होता है, फैमिली होती है, अपने परिवार में कोई एक लेवल के व्यक्ति के परिवार में एक सदस्य नहीं रहे तो उसको दुख होता है। तो क्या हमारा कोई लेबर उसके परिवार में कोई सदस्य नहीं रहे तो उसको दुख नहीं होता है क्या? उसके फैमिली में कमी नहीं महसूस होती है क्या? जी नहीं, उसका जीवन का भी महत्व इतना ही है। और ये अवधारणा के आधार पर तो डेमोक्रेटिक सिस्टम में देखो सभी का वोट्स का मूल्य सेम ही है ना। एक राष्ट्रपति वोटिंग करके आए, उसका वोट का मूल्य और एक सामान्य व्यक्ति वोट करे, उस दोनों का वोट का मूल्य सेम ही है। वैसे जीवन का मूल्य सेम ही होना चाहिए। उसको देखते हुए हमने तय किया है कि इंटरनेशनल मानांक को हम माने, उसका इम्प्लीमेंटेशन करें और हमारे देश में ऐसे केमिकल्स, पेट्रोकेमिकल्स, हैजार्डस वाली इंडस्ट्रीज में काम करते हुए अपने स्वयं को सेफ रख पाए। ये प्राथमिकता को देखते हुए मैं मानता हूँ कि आज MOU भी होगा। आप सेफ यूज ऑफ केमिकल्स, पेट्रोकेमिकल्स पर सेमिनार में कई डिबेट भी करेंगे, कई डिस्कशन भी करेंगे। और मेरी अपेक्षा है कि आपका डिबेट, आपका डिस्कशन के आधार पर जो आउटपुट निकलेगा वो भी हमारे सामने रखा जाए, जिसके आधार पर हमें भी पता चले कि ये काम करने में, क्योंकि यहाँ एक्सपर्ट होंगे, यहाँ इंडस्ट्रीज होगी, यहाँ ऑफिसर्स होंगे, सबको मिलके काम करना होता है। ये जिम्मेवारी हम सब लोगों की होती है। हमें इंडस्ट्रीज की जिम्मेवारी है ऐसा करके छोड़ देने वाले लोग नहीं है। और या तो हम ऐसा भी नहीं छोड़ सकते कि सरकार ही करेगी। सरकार, इंडस्ट्रीज, हमारे एक्सपर्ट, हमारे साइंटिस्ट, सब लोग मिलके एक साझा प्रयास करें। और साझा प्रयास करने के लिए आवश्यकता होती है स्टेक होल्डर कंसल्टेशन। इट्स वन टाइप ऑफ स्टेक होल्डर कंसल्टेशन। जब इस सेमिनार जैसे प्लेटफॉर्म पर बातचीत होती है तो उसमें से एक्चुअल स्थिति ध्यान में आती है, उससे पाथवे तय होता है, उससे आगे हमें क्या करना चाहिए, ये करने के लिए कार्य योजना बन सकती है। इसलिए मैं मानता हूं कि आपका जो आज का सेमिनार है, इस सेमिनार का महत्व मेरी दृष्टि से कम नहीं है। ऐसे सेमिनार से निकला हुआ आउटपुट के आधार पर डिसीजन होगा, कार्य योजना बनेगी, पाथवे तय होगा, तो सही मायने में हमारी सेफ्टी को सुनिश्चित करेगा। मैं अपेक्षा करता हूं कि आपका डिबेट, आपका डिस्कशन सार्थक रहे। आप सबको मेरी ओर से हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं।
Thank you, Honorable Minister, to highlight important points like use of latest technology in the sector, use of training and best practices in the sector as per the international norm for good human life and the sector, lesson learned from the past tragic incident, encourage industry and government to work together to make a plan for the sector and its safety. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Now with this, we will come to the MOU ceremony. So I request our Joint Secretary, Chemical, and Director ILO, ma'am, to kindly please come and sign the document in front of the Honorable Minister. ये हो चेयर लो। पैदल उठाओ। Thank you very much for this historic moment. We're hopeful that this will create an ecosystem in this sector in terms of safety. Now I request Shri Prabdas ji, Chairman FICCI Petrochemical Committee and MD and CEO of HPL Mittal, to propose the vote of thanks. So,
on behalf of FICCI and the industry member present here and industry, it's my privilege to thank our Honorable Minister, Shri Mansukh Mandavia ji, Honorable Union Minister of Health, Family Welfare, Chemicals and Fertilizer, Government of India, Honorable Minister Bhagwant Khube ji, Minister of State Chemical and Fertilizers, New and Renewable Energy, our Secretary, Mrs. Aarti Ahuja ji, Joint Secretary Sushant Purohit, Director, International Labour Organization, Dagmar Walter ji, Madam. Really thankful for Department of Chemical and Petrochemical and International Labour Organization for organizing this seminar and signing an MOU. Honorable Minister has rightly mentioned that the chemical industry, the safety is of utmost importance. Let me assure Honorable Minister that industry is fully with you and we are doing whatever best is possible to make sure that industry runs safely and all the persons who come to work go back home safe and healthy. Let me say that, let me start that, that the Government of India has been, as you rightly said, has made a rule which are best on earth. We have taken inputs from all over the world and have rules and regulation which we are very proud of. I can tell you the example, One day Mr. Mittal asked me, we have a refinery in Bhatinda. Supposing we put this refinery in Europe, will you be able to function or not? The question was whether we meet all the rules and regulation, what is applicable in Europe, are you meeting that as far as safety is concerned, process safety is concerned, as far as environment is concerned. So I told him, let me check. So we checked. And I can very proudly say that, we can function anywhere on the earth. So that's the rules and regulations that we are very proud of. As far as safety is concerned, we feel that, it's not a cost to the company. When we make processes, we make the plants and we train people, we feel that, this is not a cost. It's a business. It gives us return. And that's how we do it. As I told you, plants are best because we take all the precautions, what is best on earth as far as when the plants are supposed to be there. There can be exceptions, there will be some shortcuts sometime, but as far as we are concerned, we like to follow all the rules. As far as processes are concerned, I think, again, I can very proudly say that we are very good in making processes. The processes are fantastic. There may be issue of implementation, but at least the processes which we make for chemicals and petrochemical industries are the world standard. The people are also world standard. But as Madam Secretary was saying that, there can be a dearth of training, and that's why, we are thankful that, this will help this seminar and the actions initiated after the MOU will help us in teachers training as well as the training of the people. So we are very conscious in the industries of the hazards, and we are taking and we will be taking further steps so that our industry is safe and everybody goes safe and sound. So once again, thank you very much.
With this, we conclude the inaugural session, and we're thankful to the Honorable Minister and Secretary Madam and the industry to be present for this important ILO ceremony. We will start the technical session within 5 minutes. Our speakers from Reliance, from Aarti Industry, from BASF, from Deepak Nitrite, and from Indian Oil will be May I request industry to stay back, please, when we start with the next session? who have joined online. Sir, वो कहाँ है? So, yes. So we'll start with the new session, next session, which is on the chemical safety. So I invite the speakers. First of all, the chairman of the session, Sushant Kumar Prohit, Joint Secretary, Department of Chemicals, Petrochemicals. We have speaker who has joined online, which is Mr. Shailesh. Mr. Shailesh is here. Mr. Pratik Sharma, Head Safety, Aarti Industries. Thank you. Mr. Jayant Balkar, Global ES Manager, Agriculture Solution, BSF. Thank you, sir. Mr. V.V. Suran Rao, Head Safety, Reliance Industry. He doesn't need an introduction. He is a veteran. And thank you very much, sir, that you have accepted our request in short time. Mr. Ajay Kumar Tiwari, Chief Manager, Indian Oil. Just kindly please come onto the dais. Can we close the door, please? And I request other delegates to kindly please, once they finish it off, can join because it's a virtual session too. So I just introduced today's moderator, Mr. Sagar Kaushik. Mr. Sagar Kaushik is again a veteran in the industry, and he's working now as the CEO of UPL, United Phosphorus. And in fact, sir, when we recently visited with Secretary Chemical to Gujarat, it was UPL who have given us the inputs on the chemical safety. With that, we have started with the concept, even in the FICCI also, how to engage the small industry in the chemical safety, because big companies do not have any issue, but the small company who do not have the financials and the knowledge, how to help them. And it was, it was very heartening to know that UPL is already doing a great service in that, in that area. With that, I now give mic to Mr. Sagar Kaushik to just set the tone, and then, the session will start. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Sagar Kaushik.
Manoj, how much time we have? Half an hour? Or
So we have altogether about 1 hour. So we have speakers, various speakers, and then the others can speak for 5 to 10 minutes,
Yes.
depending. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so still good morning, and the participants here present personally and also virtually. I really welcome all. And before we start, I just want to make one remark, is that, safety has actually two aspects, largely speaking. One is that that how do we address if there is an issue or if there is an event, and this event could lead to a level 1 injury, level 2 injury, or a serious injury, etc., the way it is really defined. The second aspect is basically a very positive aspect of it. And I think Aarti ma'am mentioned about the culture part of it, that how do we build this culture? And in the formation of the culture, or evolving the culture in the industry, it really takes time and a lot of training to all. It's not that the safety is concerned for only the manager's safety. I think the people who are working in the entire, not only floor shop, but in the admin and the other areas, they also need to become partner to that. And why? Because every morning moment you enter, one has to really look for that what are those areas which could be really the near miss. That means I'm just looking at this bottle, can this bottle fall? And is it lying in a tilted form? So number of such issues which are in the floor shop or in the canteen or in the other, the areas of the piping, etc. And every evening, there should also be a data collected that are we able to find out, let's say, 50 near miss of which could lead to the level 1 to level 5 injuries. I think some of these companies, international companies, they have this practice. And it really creates a much positive momentum. So one is basically the prevention part, and the other part is that, how when some event happen, then how do we really address that part? I think the cultural part today has really taken a lot of interest, especially from my point of view, that developing a culture is equally relevant than really curing once something has happened. So with these initial remarks, I would really encourage that all our the other participants or the members for this panel, they should start to introduce themselves and then give their address with regard to the safety aspects. So may I start? I'm just going with whatever is written in the program. It starts with Mr. Shailesh Raval, the Senior General Manager Safety of Deepak Nitrite. Thank you. Yeah. Excuse me, Raval. I think prior to that, there is an address
Kelly.
also from Kevin.
Yeah.
So if you could, Kevin, give your address first. Thank you.
So thank you very much, moderator, and morning to everyone again. So it's not really an address, I'll call it really a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation, which I will do. And what I'll just share with you some information on the International Chemical Safety Cards from the ILO, to give you all some background information and some where to find the links and whatnot. So, in the first slide, for example, we talk about the International Chemical Safety Cards, which is a joint project between the ILO, the World Health Organization, and the International Corporation of the Economic Union. The technical secretariat is provided by the WHO. Next slide, please. Now, the International Chemical Safety Cards, or the ICSC as we call it, has been around for more than 20 years. It's nothing new. There's nothing new. It's been around for more than 20 years. It started in Berlin way back, as we can see from this slide, the next slide. Way back it started in Berlin, and then all the way now, dealing with a number of issues, For example, in Geneva, the compilers of the guide. In Tokyo, the translations, the database, and a number of things would have happened over the years as we develop these international chemical safety cards. So the question, of course, is what is the International Chemical Safety Cards? The ICSCs are really data sheets intended to provide essential safety and health information on chemicals in a clear and concise manner. Very, very importantly, it's like having information on cards that you share with the industry. And what is the information on these cards, as you can see? We have a number of information that you can find on the cards. For example, the identity of the chemical. Very importantly, you need to know what chemicals that you're dealing with, because different chemicals will have different impact on the person and the environment. Fire and explosion hazards, fire safety, first aid, very importantly, shipping, disposal, storage, and packaging, classification and labeling, regulatory information and occupational exposure limits, very importantly, the law, and also information on the environment, environmental data, and as we all know, data also is very critical. If you don't have data, then you wouldn't know what to capture, you wouldn't know what to measure. So you need to have the data as well. Okay? The ICS is intended for the workers, very importantly. It's intended for those responsible for occupational safety and health. And a lot of the time, you know, we see things happening in the factory and we pass the information to the manager and the owners, but it doesn't reach the worker. And the workers need to have the information, what to do if you have an incident. Okay? It's very important that the information reaches the right people at the right time. Next slide, please. The ICSCs are produced not by guests, but it is produced by peer review process. The preparation of the ICSC is an ongoing process of drafting and peer reviewing by the group of scientists working for a number of specialized scientific institutions concerned with occupational safety and health in different countries. So subsequently, institutions, they do the translation into the cards into different languages. But it's really a lot of scientists and people that meet and get together and put together these cards. It is peer reviewed, it is discussed to ensure that the information there is proper information and it's the right information. The next slide are the ICSs authoritative. The international peer review process followed in the preparation of the ICSC ensures the authoritative nature of the cards and represent a significant asset of ICSs as opposed to other packages of information. And the cards, we should say, are updated periodically, so you don't keep the same card all the time. The cards keep on updating as you get more and more information. You keep on updating the card, the technology, the new information, new methods, new techniques are also updated in the card. Okay? In what languages are the cards available? They are prepared in English. They are prepared in a number of different languages, in Chinese, Finnish, French, Hebrew, Hungarian, Portuguese, Spanish, you name it. And I think if it's not in Hindi yet, then we can also talk about getting the card translated into Hindi and Bengali and all of the different languages and whatnot. I think it will be an asset if we also translate the cards into the local languages as well. For example, in the ILO, we also have a tool we call SCORE, Sustaining Competitive and Responsible Enterprises. And in SCORE, there is also a module called OSH. And in OSH, these cards would also be very, very important for the industry as well. So just to leave you to a final start, there is a website, okay, www.ilo.org/ISCS. For those of you who might be interested, you can get much more information on the card. So with that, I thank you, and I give you back over to the moderator. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. So thanks a lot, Kevin. I think very, very helpful to facilitate the whole process of occupational health and the safety aspects very much needed. Thank you very much. And I now quickly go back to the panelists and just with one procedural advice that please give your address and you have 5 to 7 minutes. So try to complete in 5 to 7 minutes. That will be helpful to the other panelists. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning to everybody. I agree with Mr. Sagar's advice, about that near miss kind of things, So, as ILO team is there, I request, below that bottom of pyramid, near miss, many times what happens, near miss is a, hypothetical things. It is about to happen. If we go beyond that pyramid, then another two elements comes into picture, that unsafe actions and unsafe conditions. If we legalize those things, identifying unsafe actions and unsafe conditions, those are, potential for near miss. So we can, go beyond those things, and those are leading parameters because nothing has happened. So if we focus more and more about those unsafe actions and unsafe conditions, then we can prevent the exert. If we take care of minors, then major will be taken care of those things. So those are leading parameters. We should more focus on those things. Now on that cultural part, because I'm having 35 years of experience in safety, so wide experience and many hard learnings are also there, and recent also we learned a lot through that accident also. So I would be sharing that thing, in process safety, because of technological advancement, more and more instrumentations are there. So we are going both that continuous operation systems and better instrumentations are there. If, we even through HAZOP study, we think about that if one instrument fails, then another. So we put those things. So there, we can assess the probability of failure up to the, 0.0001 level also. So there, more reliability is coming into picture through technological advancement. Whereas, human beings are the most unpredictable part. So that, culture comes into picture, that, how we can build on those things. So mostly, safety is thrown on the safety professionals only. Instead of that, safety is everybody's responsibility. So we should focus on those things, and it should be, part of KRA, performance appraisal systems of everybody. So even, finance manager or purchase manager, for them also safety is key, they have key role to play. So if we bifurcate, integrate safety in entire sphere of life, then it will give the outcome, and we get the desired results out of those things. Then we, culture built up will be there to those things. And then again we left to administrative control. There also, many weaknesses are there, because if one person fails, then entire system fails. It happens many times. Maintenance is a big issue in our country. So there also we need to think about various layer of protection. In instrumentation, we think about layer of protection. Like if, basic design fails, then basic process control systems are there. If basic process control fails, then human intervention is there. Then again, we think about safety integrated functions, plant will go into shutdown mode. Whereas in human part, those things are not there. So there also, how we can build on in culture itself. If, person who is adopting unsafe practices, then how there has to be somebody else to watch him through this. Now, there also technology comes into picture. Through CCTV camera, we can observe such kind of behavior and intervene over those things. Because again, human behavior is like that. 99% person would be doing, safe practices, but sometimes he will prompt to do unsafe practices. And many times, it is giving motivations, because it would be faster. If he is successful and doing these things faster, then people are appreciating those things, even though it would be unsafe practices. So there we should intervene those things. So that will give, better advantage to the society. So that is takeaway from my side. I would also like to brief about that recent incident that predict the things which is not feasible actually. Like sodium nitrate, the chemicals which we are handling since 50 years. At none of the time such kind of incident was there. So there it was big surprise to that thing. It's an inorganic chemical. There cannot be fire. Decomposition temperature is 330-degree temperature. But even though at little spark, it has given that liner was there, LDP liner that burnt, and then it was oxidizing material and that huge fire. And in sodium nitrate warehouse, we never think about any fire kind of things. So those kind of preparedness was not there. So there again, kind of things which can't happen, even though we should think about those things that can also happen. So we learned that hard lessons. So now there also, it took long, because that was beyond our imagination that fire can be there. So now we are starting thinking on those things, providing smoke detectors. So if we could have detected that fire, 15 minutes earlier, then that could have been prevented, such kind of things. So providing smoke detectors over there, even though it's an organic chemical, there cannot be fire, even though we should provide those things. So such kind of things will give, fair life.
So Shailesh, thank you very much. Thank you very much, and I'm able to find, the great thing. I think you are only building that culture, but we also need to navigate the culture.
Exactly.
With the help of the technologies, with the help of, check and balances, which is created between the human touch and the instrumentation, these areas. So I think very well covered. Thank you very much. And now we move over to Mr. Pratik Sharma, who is the head of safety from Aarti Industry.
Yeah, good morning and be safe to all. My name is Pratik Sharma and I'm heading a health safety function of Aarti. It's my honor to present Aarti Industries Limited's framework for safe use of chemicals under the chairmanship of Honorable Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavaria, Shri Bhagwan Kumbha, Madam Aarti Ahuja, and our eminent guests and the participants. I also like to thank TCPC, ILO, and FICCI for organizing this important event. Team, you can present my slides. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, next, please. So, introducing first, I will take few seconds to introduce my company, Aarti Industries Limited. We are a responsible, sustainable, and value-driven chemical manufacturing company. When I say values, so our core values are care, integrity, and excellence. And our purpose for doing business is basically right chemistry for a brighter tomorrow. So, very relevant to this particular event. Yeah, next, please. With respect to company, we established in 1994 and listed on Indian stock in 1992. We are globally ranked first to fifth position for 75% of our portfolio, and we have robust safety, health, and environment standards. Yeah, next, please. So when I say chemical safety, so the approach is cradle to gate or and cradle to cradle approach basically, and we have identified five critical areas for assuring chemical safety. The first is R&D and pilot trials, where we do the new product development. And also, for the existing products, there are a number of trials, experiments are being done to make them more efficient, more safe, and more environment friendly. The second area is project basically, where we do design, engineering, and construction, then commissioning, and then the fourth one is manufacturing. When I say manufacturing, it is basically the steady state operation of the plants. And the final one is chemical road transportation safety, which is very, very critical nowadays. So these are the five areas where we are focusing. And this presentation is focusing on chemical incident prevention. So I will not go on the mitigation part, but more on prevention part, what we are doing in Aarti Industries Limited. Yeah, next, please. So in a single slide, I actually try to bring all the chemical safety frameworks, the tools. These tools are scientific tools which are being operated or handled by the competent, capable people. Okay, so you can say there are three major pillars here: development, projects, and manufacturing. Under development, we have a R&D facility at Mumbai. It is a beautiful facility with more than 400 of scientists, where they are doing continuously experimenting with the existing and new molecules. They do experimental risk assessment. They do desktop screening. They do thermal screening. When I say thermal screening, this is very, very critical for the chemical industries because in chemical industries, the reaction parameter, the exotherm, the decomposition, the dust explosion, and so many things which are basically the root cause or triggering event of any chemical incidents. So here the thermal studies are very, very critical. We have our in-house facility where we do DSC, TSU, RC1E, vent sizing packages, all those kind of critical studies we do in-house, and we optimize our temperature, pressure, and other process parameters so that we can have them in safe envelope. So then we move to pilot scale up. Whatever we did in R&D, again we check, assess in pilot plants. We do a lot of studies there. We do negative experiment as well. Okay, so there we do base HAZOP, ERA, PSSR, process safety information we develop over there. The standard operating conditions, alarms, and interlocks values we define over there. And we do the powder safety analysis, the base inherent to base safety for the inherent chemical safety. So these are critical tools in the development stage. Then in the project also, the pre-commissioning, commissioning, commercial scale-up, and the project construction and post-commissioning. There are a lot of activities and tools we actually effectively use to ensure that whatever we are constructing and we are going for the commissioning, it will be a safe construction for operation and a safe commissioning. Because this commissioning, many of the incident happen during commissioning start our shutdowns. So you can see in commercial scale up, we do HAZOP. And when I say HAZOP, it is not a conventional HAZOP. In Aarti, we have a robust HAZOP procedures where number of guide words, near about 50 guide words we use to perform our HAZOP. So we try to identify each and every hazard, its severity and probability. then the HERA, then the quantitative risk assessment, safety integrity level studies, siting facilities, which is very, very critical to understand the safe layout and to develop emergency response plan. And then again, the powder safety analysis, electrostatic discharge studies and audits we perform here in the project facilities. We also develop a startup shutdown procedure during this and non-routine activities checklist and regular risk assessment. So you can see these are the scientific tools and the people involvement. So you can see the interlink of processes and people here in this whole framework. When I say uh, manufacturing a steady state plant operation, then we perform cyclic HAZOPs. Generally, in the industries, the frequency is 5 years, but at Aarti, we have an aggressive approach for our HAZOP and we perform cyclic HAZOPs every 3 years with all exhaustive guide words and excellent HAZOP leaders. HERA again means every year we do check on HERA in case of any learning from any external incident or any internal near miss of incident. We immediate check our HERA. We perform number of different focus safety audits. So we assure that whatever the processes, whatever the design we have made, the plants are running and that as per that design. PSSR, pre-startup safety reviews for any modification, any projects, any greenfield, brownfield projects. We have this robust tool available. Then the QRA and SIL, again, whatever the safety operating conditions we have decided during the pilot scale-up, we again do the functional testing. There's a regular functional testing and review of those. Then the pressure system inspection, and again, all our routine, our non-routine activities assessment. So this is a robust chemical safety network which we have at Aarti. Yeah, next slide, please.
You have 30 seconds.
Okay, fine. So, so for any new product development, we have a stage gate system. So you can see this 5 stage gates. So we implement that. Next slide, please. And for this chemical road transportation, we have a beautiful Aarti Logistic Control Center, which is 24/7 operated and monitored by people over there, where we see, we basically watch violation of route, speed, unauthorized stoppage, rash driving, harsh braking. So to ensure that the drivers drivers demonstrate the safe behavior. And also in case of any emergency 24/7, our RT Logistic Control Center, they are available and emergency response team is available at every 90 kilometer on this route. Yep. So, so I will not go ahead with all 2-3 more slides, but these are the best practices available at Aarti, which we perform to ensure and assure that whatever we mention, that we are a responsible, sustainable, and value-driven chemical manufacturing company. We can demonstrate that introduction of our company. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Pradeep. Pratik, excellent presentation. And I
Thank you,
think
sir.
from navigating culture, you have talked about designing the culture.
Yes.
From the new products, from the manufacturing, from the pilot plant, every aspect you touch is by design, which
Yes.
means have I chosen, have I replaced those raw materials which will give me the safe process? And gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we have so many examples in our country that by changing just one raw material, you made the entire process really as safer as perhaps in pharmaceuticals. In herbicide, there used to be isoproteron. Isoproteron, the starting material was isocyanate, and you know isocyanate, the different, types of isocyanates, etc. But GADA chemical changed the route from urea. So that was by design. So therefore, by design, from manufacturing, commissioning, I think very, very interesting part that you have brought in and you have shared with the others as well. So compliments to you. Sorry, I had to just cut your time. I think you could have spoken more, and we will invite you in future as well. And now we go to the next speaker is Jayant. Jayant is Agriculture Solution from the most renowned company, BSF. So, Jayant, over to you, and you also have 7 minutes.
Okay, thank you, and I will try to cover as I have time. I will share my presentation. Okay, so hope you are able to see my presentation. Hello.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, so just to introduce, I am Jayant Baheka representing BSF here, and thank you for providing me the opportunity. BSF is a well-known company spread over 130 different countries, having 6 different verticals, right from chemical cracking to as long as agriculture solutions, chemical as well. If you look at the BSF different products, literally it is everywhere. If you look around, you will find BSF around you using some of the chemicals where you have touched with BSF. So BSF is 150-year-old company, and this is one of the EHS is a very really strong pillar of BSF, where we are sustaining from so many long years.
Jayant, could you just make it full screen?
Okay, give a minute.
We can hear you so well, and we also want to see this.
Now it's okay.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, very good.
Okay,
Well
so why safety is important to all of us? These are the few numbers, and we are all familiar with that. Every year there are 13 fatalities per 1 lakh employees around the world. BSF is not exceptional. We do have the accidents, incidents, but we are strongly practicing EHS practices. That is why we are still in the business more than 150 years. And it's not only, I will say, human lives in terms of money. Also, it's a too big number, 2.8 trillion, which is 4% of global GDP. So EHS value contribution, where EHS is a very strong pillar I talked about. Now, we achieve compliance with regulatory and the internal requirements. They are well defined, and this gives us the license to operate our plant safely and environmentally sound facilities. By achieving outstanding, I will say, by achieving outstanding performance, we are the preferred company for various customers. So this is possible mainly because of we are practicing responsible care management system at BSF across the world. In this covers 10 different codes, but with relevant to the today's topic, safe use of chemicals, I will touch upon only 3 codes, very important on that. So this we do have a responsible care management system. Policies are well defined globally. Requirements are well structuredly available to all the sites and facilities, and this is also being audited by within the BSF so that all sites are equally maintaining the standards of EHS at all locations. Product stewardship is one of the very important, I will say, code in this, where Pratik also shares, even hello, Mr. Richard also mentioned about that. This is the product or the raw material when we really put into the market, all information we made available to the people. And also we, at our manufacturing locations, all MSDS, we give the training to all employees, gives all the informations, and this information is used to really identify what are the hazards in that particular product or raw material, which we are using in our, I will say, day-to-day culture, that is occupational safety, which we talked about, the cultural requirement. Technically, all plants are really, many organizations are investing, as Shailesh mentioned, first layer, second layer protections are available, but occupational safety where cultural change is required or cultural importance is required. So this how we achieve this? We are achieving this by giving up repeatedly training on the raw materials people are handling, identifying the hazards, what are the preventive measures available, and in case of emergency, how people can react to that particular situation. And from that situation, incident management is also very strongly, we are following their root cause, sharing and training to the people. Process safety, this is a particular technical part, is right. Mr. Prashant also mentioned, Pratik also mentioned, if there are manufacturing process by starting from the design itself, certain things are being eliminated, risky chemicals, risky process, and we ensure that we have a really a good process already running in our manufacturing locations. So with that, also we encourage to have emergency response preparedness at all our sites. This is mainly for in case of any eventuality. It cannot be avoided. Accidents may happen, and for that preparedness is very important. This is also one of the cultural part, which is really demonstrating that the impact of any incident, impact of any accidents can be reduced if we are really ready with emergency response. We do not stop at the manufacturing locations. We have also extended our responsible care management system to the agriculture farms, because there also the people are getting exposed to the chemicals, and sharing the MSDS with them, sharing the how to store the chemical, how to use it, how they can protect themselves is also helping to have a better life at a farmers. So with this is my last slide. So you can see that BSF is the in India, it was the first country to really engage into the global initiative of Suraksha Kit. It is a protection of farmer. It includes hand gloves, mask, complete PVC suit, and which is the spraymans are using it for protecting their life. Suraksha Hamesha is also one of the, I will say, cultural initiative BSF has started with the help of Indian ministry. We are providing trainings to the farmer, and so far more than 2 million farmers have been trained on the chemical handling and how they can be a safe spraying of chemical, because crop protected chemicals are really sometimes are really risky to the human life. And with this, we also got a Grow Award for Best Product Stewardship Program. Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you, Jayant, to be on time and giving the global perspective to the area of occupational health and the culture. So I think we have moved with your presentation from navigation to design to the global culture. And now we have two more presentations. I think the challenge increases for the next speakers, because a lot of things have already been spoken. So you really need to be very smart to bring out something that has not been spoken. So the next speaker is Mr. Surya Rao, and he is from Reliance Industry. So over to you, Mr. Rao. 7 minutes, sir.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you kindly put the slides, please? Right. Thank you very much for honoring Reliance, and Reliance allowing me to share some experience of mine over 57 years in chemical industry. Next slide. Now, this picture tells you the risk is depending on the location where you are and the product that you are making, etc. There is no job without risk, and there is no growth without risk. The last slide, please. Right. There are three components I want to say. The first one is the blue. Right. If we don't know why people get hurt and cause accidents, whether in workplace safety or process safety management, you cannot resolve the issue. Now, accidents in my formula are dependent on the number of people multiplied by inverse of competency, multiplied by the risk in the task, multiplied by inverse of accountability. If there are more people, there is more risk. If there is less competent, there is more risk. If the task is higher in risk, there is higher risk. And if nobody is accountable, then the risk increases. Now, I would like to democratize the risk. Now, democracy is by the people, for the people, to the people, and of the people. So also the risk. Risk is created by the asset-facing people, faced by them. So my whole game plan is how can we democratize the risk to the asset-facing people who are going to experience it. Now I have a magic number called 248. Every employee, everybody goes to work with 206 bones and would like to come back home with the same number of bones, not more, not less. Every employee goes with 37 degrees centigrade body temperature, would like to come back home to the family at the same 37 degrees. Definitely not less. And everybody goes with 5 liters of blood and they would like to return to their family with 5 liters of blood. This is the universal religion which I am trying to propagate in my company, and if others want to know about it. So 206 plus 37 plus 5 is 248. Nobody wants to get hurt. Then why do they get hurt? Now we discuss about competency. Competency is not only at worker level. Competency has to be at all levels. Now my biggest challenge is this competency is missing both in terms of knowledge and in terms of behavior. You can give cards, which you should give. You can give training, which you must give. But please understand, it vanishes with the highest rate of radioactivity. What you need is knowledge at the time of doing the task. With that, I will go to what can we do. Because this seminar is expected to give some suggestions. There is what is called cascaded direct accountability. There's no point in putting the chairman of a company in a jail or a works manager in a jail. If each person is accountable for the behavior, for their safety, schedule, cost, and quality, and productivity of only their direct reports is adequate for me. This is called cascaded direct accountability. That is how it goes from one level to another level to third level. But DuPont has taught me stop audit. Every leader must spend 1 hour per week in the field, influencing the people and creating a culture which comes to the last. There are centers of excellence on process safety management. I want to compliment UPL, Mr. Sagar Kaushik, and who has initiated the first COE in this country called SRICT COE in Bharuch, which is doing a fantastic job, and IIT Delhi, along with international company called Gexcon and Nayara. Mandate safety officers to possess PSM certification. Just like diploma in safety, that should also have a diploma in process safety. Certify chemical industry workers like you do boiler operators and electricians. They cannot work without a certification. An electrician and electrical supervisor. The same principle which is there internationally must come in this country. Now, I want to add one more for the responsible care. It is for international organization to add this one more dimension. That is, look after the children of lesser God, the medium scale and small scale industries. Now, what does it mean? Each of the industries which are in the larger group must adopt at least 10 companies around them. And because they can't afford to have this infrastructure, right? That the 11th one is a disaster prevention and control and management center. One run by individuals. We have CETP, Central Effluent Treatment Plant, Hazard Waste Management Plant, Fire Station. These are all run. For example, in Thana Belapur Industry, the Industry Association runs it. It is there in Channel View in Houston. So have a disaster prevention and control and management center run by the industry themselves. And lastly, we spoke about culture. Culture is shared values, beliefs, and behaviors. Now, these have to be published, and we must respect the chemicals and create a culture of chronic unease. This is a word you will learn from Shell. With that, I'm closing. These are 6 to 11 are our recommendations. If anybody wants to have any discussion on this separately, we are always welcome, because we in Reliance believe there is no IPR on health, safety, environment, and fire, because it is the human side of enterprise for all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Surya Rao, sir. Very, very valuable wise insight that you have given. And I would just take my thread of culture from navigation to design to now going to adopting culture. And that is what I think the prime word you have mentioned, that the larger companies, this industry to industry collaboration in the context of the occupational health and safety, I think can really encompass the well-deserved outcome for the whole industry. Thank you, sir. So I will move now to the next speaker, Ajay Tiwari. So you are the chief manager for Indian Oil.
Yes, sir.
So please go ahead. Oh, you are right here. Thank you.
So, respected Joint Secretary, Sir Purohit sir, Kaushik sir, and my earlier speakers, distinguished colleagues and ladies and gentlemen. I will start with actually most of the speakers have spoken on the subject, and most of the topics which I have brought in presentation mode has already been discussed. So to start with the presentation, let us hear the presentation. So this is our single-horned rhino. It is our mascot of safety. Coming to the next slide. This is our IOCL's HSE policy. It is the guidance document to achieve the goals and objectives of the company. I believe everybody sitting in the room directly or indirectly connected with IOCL. So it is our guidance document for HSE. Next. This is general chemical safety principles and guidelines. So I am not going to discuss this because already we have 7 or 8 minutes to going to the next slide. First point is maintain orderly place. So in our case, in our organization, when we are putting chemicals, when we are arranging chemicals inside warehouses or in our process units, so we follow a compatibility chart. Next slide. So this is the compatibility chart to avoid any chemical-related accidents or hazards. In all the 5 colors, you will see start from the green to orange, yellow, white, and red. All these have some meaning. So when you are putting or arranging chemicals, put a little bit thought, and then you arrange your chemicals in whether it is in chemical stores or process units. Next. So this is the basic chemical safety rules. This is applicable to all the employees, visitors, contract workers coming inside the process plants in our 9 refineries which are running from east to west and north to south. So everybody coming inside the plant, they are trained on these aspects, and then they are provided with a card that you are trained on these aspects and you are eligible to enter inside our battery area. Next. So now coming to the what is training part, now it is what is the engineering and administrative controls. What we follow: prevention, detection and alert, emergency response and disaster management plan, response as per plan, and recovery. Next. So prevention starts from process design. Our refinery units are designed in all refinery units or petrochemical plants are designed through a process licensor following the internationally accepted design codes. Then basic controls, round the clock controls, coming to the critical alarms and the manual intervention. In case something goes wrong, what should be the manual intervention? Automatic shutdown systems, physical protection. When we are storing liquids, there are physical protections in the form of dikes. When we are protecting our equipments, in the form of physical protection in the form of relief devices. Again, plant emergency response in the form of entire hierarchy. Next slide. Again, as I said, our plants are designed in a internationally accepted engineering standards. All the processes are licensed through reputed licensors. Qualified and experienced and trained personnel are employed to control these processes. Elaborated active and passive protection systems are already in place. Automated process control systems and 24/7 supervisory control is there. No process is left unmanned. Next is overpressure protection. In refineries, whenever we refine crude oil to valuable petroleum products or petrochemicals, all are pressurized process. So it needs a delicate overpressure protection system. Next. Now coming to the loss of containment protection. Loss of containment wherever in the form of liquid, wherever in the form of gases, it should be there standardized loss of containment protection in the form of dike, dedicated storage areas in chemical stores. It is very important where you store your chemical, whenever it is entering inside your premises, in the chemical stores or in the process units. Coming to the chemicals, what we handle, the hydrocarbons, chlorine, H2S, we have elaborate hydrocarbon detectors organized inside our plants, and these are instrumented to our distributed control systems. So in case of any leak detection, the operator will come to know, and accordingly he will take prompt action. Next is audio-visual alarm systems. In case any analyzer goes wrong in the field, automatic there will be a hooter, there will be a blinker, so that the operator in the field or the personnel in the field can take preventive actions. Next is public address system. It is known to all, we are running huge refineries. So addressing mass at a single point of time, we have public address system. Again, backup power supply. What I have written here, there are some chemicals, they require some temperature control. So in case of any complete power failure, there should be a backup power supply for organic peroxides, which we are storing for our petrochemical plants. Next. And above all the processes have standard operating procedures. As a PSU, we are compliant to Oil Industry Safety Directorate Standard 114 for safe handling of hazardous chemicals. Monitoring of process safety performance indicators. Here I want to say all the tier 3 and tier 4 incidents of process safety performance indicators are monthly reviewed by your senior management up to the level of director. So any case of loss of primary containment is brought to the notice of senior management so that it can be reviewed properly and action can be taken. Next is QRA and HAZOP studies or RRA studies. As per periodicity or whenever we are doing any major project, we are doing that and we are complying all the recommendations. Training on MSDS. Not only training on MSDS, we do quizzes, we take tests of our employees, whether they are knowing their chemical best or not. In case there is a deficiency, we again go for training so that they are very much updated on the chemical hazards part. Next. Display of do's and don'ts. It is very generic, starting from company entry gate, inside the plant, wherever you go. There is a board stating what you can do and what you can don't. Next is employee engagement. We are almost 40,000 employees are working in Indian Oil Corporation. So employees engagement, they are the direct employees, and other than contract employees, we always run various employee engagement programs to keep this chemical safety part at fore. Next is statutory approval. We are PSUs and we again are following all the statutory applications like PESO, whatever PESO says on storage of ABC class products or storage of compressed gases, all we are compliant to. Next is audit as per MSIS rule. It is an annual audit for all the locations. Whatever recommendation comes from that audit, we are complying all those recommendations. Display of hazardous chemicals, it is as per the requirement of MSIHC rule and we are complying to that. Next. Now, coming to the whatever you take precautions, there are chances. We are not insulated to accidents or incidents. So there must be a proper plan how you are taking care of emergencies. And here I have written down all our locations have their emergency plan as per PNGRB Act. And PNGRB accredited agency comes every 3 years to re-accredit our plan and certify our plan. So starting from the location specific ERDMP, infrastructure development, what are the mobile firefighting, static firefighting, training, disaster control system, all are kept ready just to take care of any eventuality. Next is public address system to just evacuate the plant personnel as well as the nearby to educate the nearby population. Siren codes. Siren codes are as mandatory as PNGRB says you have to define the siren code level 1, 2, 3. So it is there. Corporate disaster management plan to take care of the entire refining corporation, refinery division. We have got corporate disaster management plan in place. Next is mandatory drills. We carry out mandatory drills, minimum 3 on-site and 1 off-site drill. Total 4. And all the 10 locations are doing these mandatory exercises on a periodic manner. Coming to the next, well-trained fire and Q rescue team is there. Permanent team is there to just take care of any eventuality, and they are supplemented by CISF personnel. first aid centers, occupational health centers, and full-fledged hospitals in our refinery townships are just to take care of any injured persons or injury. Next is infrastructure supplemented by mutual partners. We have valid agreement with our neighboring industries to support us in case of any emergency. Next. This is my last slide.
Okay, thank you.
So this is my last slide. Here we have shown the organogram, how we are taking care of any chemical emergency and what is the modality of chemical emergency. Thank you.
So that was our last presentation, and I have to carry the thread of the culture, the safety culture. That was the context which was set by respected Secretary DCPC, and therefore our panelists, they start with navigating the culture, designing the culture, global culture, and finally we have, then of course Sir has spoken about adoption of culture, adoption culture, and now it is the process culture. So the large refineries, they have to manage really so much of internal, external challenges, and I think the processes could make it happen. So I think a very, very valuable presentation, and I will now really request now respected JS, DCPC, to chair who is chairing the session, to make his conclusion, sir.
Thank you, Sagar Kosik sir. It was excellent session, and also I thank all the speakers here. They have touched upon all the important aspects of safety, and I will also request that whatever presentations that has been made today, that can be shared so that we can make a small report on this, and we'll put up to our Honorable Minister as our Honorable Minister sir had desired in the morning in the inaugural session. Our Honorable Minister sir also emphasized that the safety is paramount, and there should be zero tolerance towards safety, and in fact, as he mentioned that everyone's life is equally important. So here the workman's safety in our industry is of paramount importance, and for that purpose, as all the speakers have told, and all the industry, I think they are following all the safety measures, and all the points that what has been shown on the presentation, those are actually has to be reflected on the field. Basically, at the end of the day, what is actually being planned or executed or followed in the field, that is of very much importance. And I understand that for ensuring safety, the human element is also very important. Just as Mr. Rawal once mentioned that human, are we mapping the workers who are working and coming to our industry? Have they got some problem in their personal problem or something, or whether they are working in the industry in the proper state of mind or not? That is also very important. So whether I don't know that angle also we should examine in our industrial setup. And secondly, the safety should be a culture, and regular there should be a meeting in the industry for maybe on a weekly basis, or so that safety has to be drilled into the mind of the people who are working in the field, because unless it is a regular feature, regular counseling to the people who are on the job, the safety generally becomes less important unless it is regularly being drilled into the mind of the people there. And also I understand that all the organization must be having a safety department. So the safety department and the production department, they basically work in their safety desires something, but production wants the production has to be improved. So generally there is a tendency to at times violate some safety parameters, and feeling of that is not very important for us. But at the end of the day, such small miss creates accident. So that is what is required, and I think today's this MOU signing, all these safety cards that what will be shared to the industry association, and in turn it will be given to the various industry, and also various the TOTs, training of trainers and all, that will definitely will helpful to ensure safety. And let us pledge that we should have zero accidents in our industry, and that should be our main focus. Thank you. Thank you.
With this, we conclude today's workshop. We're thankful to Department of Chemicals and Petrochemicals, ILO, and all the speakers present and the delegate who have joined us. With this, we thank you, and in case you have any inputs, kindly please send it to us. And as directed by the Joint Secretary and the Honorable Minister, we will prepare a report and submit it to the department. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.